Hey everyone, it is Sunday, June the 17th, almost noon, and this is my final hike to complete the Carolina Lookout Tower Challenge and the South Beyond 6000 Challenge by hiking to Mount Collins and Clingmans Dome today. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to do the big summit hike from Newfound Gap out and back to Clingmans Dome, which will have been approximately 15 miles total and around 4,500 feet of elevation gain. The main reason is because yesterday I apparently got some really bad blisters on both of my feet, almost identical, ringing around the back of my heel. And I didn't really feel it the entire day of hiking yesterday and only noticed it when I got back to the hotel, took a shower, and they started getting a little bit more painful and more fluid filled up those blisters. So since they're almost identical, it was either the shoes or the socks I was wearing, which is kind of odd because those are the shoes and socks that I wear on almost every hike in the summer, and I'm wearing them today. I've been pretty fortunate over the years. I rarely get blisters both in soccer and basketball and in hiking. I guess I have pretty good feet. So for day hikes, I never really prepare. I might bring an anti-chafe stick and throw it in the pack. Otherwise, I don't do anything for it. And that was the case this weekend. All I brought was an anti-chafe stick and some zinc oxide ointment. So I put a lot of zinc oxide on those blisters last night and just before the hike. And they've subsided a little because I nicked them so I could do this hike today. But my right foot's pretty painful, definitely worse than my left foot. I really wish I brought some leukotape or at least some moleskin this weekend, but I didn't, and I'm going to feel it for this entire hike. So instead of starting at Newfound Gap, I'm starting at the Fork Ridge Trailhead, which cuts about half of that distance. I think it's around 4.2, 4.3 miles from here to Clingmans Dome. I'm starting around 6,000 feet, shortly below Mount Collins. I didn't want to completely wimp out and begin at Clingmans Dome and just do an out and back to Mount Collins from there. That would have been the easiest way to do this. So at least I'm going to get an 8.5, 9-mile hike in. And if I'm feeling okay or stubborn, maybe an out and back to Andrews Bald to see if I can catch some flame azaleas. Otherwise, it's kind of a letdown for my last hike to complete these challenges just because it's going to be a pretty painful day and I'm not doing the big summit push that I wanted to do. So I'm definitely going to come back and do it another time when I'm fresher. So I'm pretty close to Mount Collins and the shelter, so that'll be my next stop. I think this might be the summit of Mount Collins. If so, it is 6,196 feet in elevation, and this would make it my 39th out of 40 on the South Beyond 6000 list. I've been hiking up the summit with a park ranger who's on a distress call, so haven't really taken any pictures of the forest, but it's beautiful. Plus I have a return hike through here. It's unclear where the actual summit is. My phone says it's right here, but my GPS unit has it a little bit further, so I'm going to tag all the high points beside the trail. Honestly, I should have just walked about 15 feet further up the trail. It's definitely clear that this is a few feet higher than the ground I was just standing at as the trail levels out across here. I'm gonna look for a marker somewhere if it's not on the trail, but I'm standing at the highest point, I'm pretty sure. Before I reach the summit, I should go ahead and show you the map where we're at, using the same full park map with the 1 in 70,000 scale. And my original plan was to start at Newfound Gap, the low point of the crest in the central Smokies. Instead, I drove up towards Mount Collins, parked at this junction where the Fork Ridge Trail and Mountains to Sea Trail meet the road, went across Mount Collins, drop down to Collins Gap, and I just passed the unranked Mount Love, and I'm getting close to Clingmans Dome. Once I check out the summit, I'm going to drop down to the visitor center where I hope I can buy a soda and a snack, and then take the Clingmans Dome bypass trail to reconnect with the AT. I think today I'm going to skip the 3.6 mile out and back to Andrews Bald, which would add at least 700 feet of elevation gain, just because of the time and my energy so far. That would make it close to a 12-mile hike instead of a 9-mile hike. This is the observation tower at the top of Clingmans Dome. There's been a tower at the top since the late 1920s, but this 45-foot ramp and observation deck was constructed and finished in 1959. And actually, it's been under renovation the last few weeks, and it opened on Friday or yesterday. That's one of the reasons why I came out here this weekend. It's 45 feet above the ground and provides 360-degree views, but the clouds have been wisping away over the summit the last few minutes. I'm about to go up there and finish everything.
Good. Thank you. Go on. You and the kids? That'd be great. Okay. What did we?
I am heading northeast on the Appalachian Trail towards my car. I think I have about 3 miles to go and only one more climb up Mount Collins of around 400 feet or so. After I visited the summit of Clingmans Dome, where I went silent on video, I went down the summit trail, which is steep and paved all the way down, heading to the small visitor center, or at least what I thought was a visitor center. I'd say more like a small little tourist shop selling shirts and badges and refrigerator magnets, books and maps. And they only offered bottled water, which was warm, and one snack cup, which probably had like pretzels and chips in it. So that was very disappointing. I was hoping they would have a cooler and some soda or Gatorade. And thinking that, I only brought 1 liter of water with me, so I've been conserving it since then. I did the short loop at the summit, which follows the Fork Ridge Trail and the Clingmans Dome Bypass Trail back up to the AT. And then I revisited the summit just because it was in the middle of the clouds and it was nice to sit there. It was very cool and refreshing, covered in clouds. So I had a good 15-minute break or so, just relaxing, people watching. But I didn't go back up to the top of the tower. It seems like the weather's clearing back up again, but you never really know here at the highest elevations in North Carolina. Those clouds can blow by very quickly. So I didn't get the best views at the summit. I only really could see towards the east and southwest. I could clearly see the Plot Balsam Mountains, but I could not see Mount LeConte and Mount Guyot, which were covered in an impressive looking thunderhead. And then I could see Fontana Lake to the southwest, and it was extremely hazy just in every direction, which is typical of summer in the North Carolina mountains. Even with visibility, it's not great. I'm gonna have to come back here in the summer, in the winter, when a high pressure system comes through. Then I could get crystal clear 100-mile visibility from the top. And also, the road is closed in the winter, which means I can hike it from Newfound Gap as I originally wanted to. And hardly anyone will be up there because the road's closed. So definitely have to do that in half a year or so. Otherwise, it was a little anticlimactic reaching the summit, but I was happy. Actually, the most depressing part was no soda or Gatorade at the little store. So I'm ready to get back to the car and get something out of my cooler. It's been a very unsettling and unnerving last 30 minutes. There's been occasional thunder ever since I reached Clingmans Dome, but it never seemed close. And as I approached Collins Gap, it got louder and closer. Then as I started climbing up Mount Collins, lightning just started crashing almost directly overhead, it seemed. And that was on the way up to the second highest peak for about 10 miles. Pretty scary. And then when I reached the summit, man, it's just been raining really, really hard. And it got cold, you know. All of the novices who are always amazed that you can get hypothermia in the summer, they haven't experienced something like this. You know, over 6,000 feet, this rain came in heavy and a little windy. Temperature dropped at least 10, 15 degrees to the low 50s, I bet. It's pretty chilly. I'm about 300 feet below Mount Collins. I wanted to get off of it as safely as I could. Every time I got to an open space, I would crouch and run right through it. And I'm almost to the car, but kind of a crazy way to end the hike. Only this top half of me is somewhat dry. The small hiking umbrella can only do so much, especially with the wind. Everything below my waist is soaked. Ready to finish. Wow, that was a crazy way to end the hike. Still raining pretty good. I had to take my shoes off and my long sleeve shirt and get my stuff in my car while holding my umbrella. Otherwise, I'm wearing the rest of my hiking clothes right now with towel on the seat. I'm glad I remembered to throw a full towel in the car. Definitely a tip, always keep a towel in the car afterwards so you can wipe off the rain or the sweat. Feels nice. So it's around 4:45. Hiking total took me around 4.5 hours or so. And I'm guessing it's going to be between 9 and 9.5 miles. Crazy way to finish it off with Clingmans Dome. I thought it was just going to be a normal hike, and then this thunderstorm made it an adventure. So that's it for the South Beyond 6000 and Carolina Lookout Tower challenges. And I guess I'm done hiking forever. Just kidding. Guess I'm gonna try to find some new challenges to prioritize. Maybe a couple of Virginia, South Carolina, Georgia ones, some county high point and prominence stuff, wilderness high points, etc. But in general, those are a little bit harder for me because I live in North Carolina, and some of that stuff is kind of far away from me for day hikes and even weekends. But that means that now I can kind of get back to redoing some hikes I haven't done for years that I did before I ever started tracking them for hiking upward. And that includes a lot of really fun hikes that I enjoy and I just haven't been to in 4 or 5 years. So yeah, now it's a kind of a new era for me after this year and a half or so of really focusing on these 2 challenges. So hope you enjoyed that in this weekend of videos and basically my whole series of all the challenge hikes. I don't know if I'll be able to put them together in like a separate group on YouTube, but I can definitely do that on Facebook, my Google Photos page, and maybe even Hiking Upward. So until next time, have a good one. See you guys later.